A headache for Kyiv. Ukraine is preparing for a big Russian offensive in the coming weeks. The Russian army is building up forces near Sumy. NATO allies are gradually approaching sending troops to Ukraine. Zelensky's visit to the Kharkiv region today tells Reuters that Russia's Kharkiv offensive is a headache for the Ukrainian Armed Forces headquarters, whose troops are already stretched across more than 1,000 kilometers of line. Kyiv, whose manpower shortage has been exacerbated by delays in Western arms deliveries, has warned that Russia is preparing for a major offensive in the coming weeks. There is a buildup of Russian troops near the Sumy region. Fighting in the center of Volchansk through the eyes of the enemy, Kyiv throws special forces of the main intelligence directorate into battle in an attempt to hold the city and the front. The main intelligence directorate of Ukraine publishes footage of urban battles in the very center of the city. Our fighters are not visible, but at the end a wounded militant of the main intelligence directorate is shown. NATO allies are gradually moving closer to sending troops to Ukraine to train the armed forces of Ukraine. New York Times. Ukraine has turned to its NATO patrons to help train 150,000 recruits closer to the front lines for faster deployment. So far the US has said no, but the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff has said the deployment of NATO trainers appears imminent. The situation in the Kharkiv direction has become more complicated, the head of the Armed Forces of Ukraine reported. The enemy expanded the active combat zone by almost 70 kilometers, forcing us to use additional reserves. The main efforts of the RF armed forces were concentrated on the direction Strelichia, Liptsi and on the liberation of Volchansk, with subsequent access to Belyi Kolodez and the deployment of an offensive to the rear of our troops. Russian troops began their offensive much earlier than we expected.